What's good, YouTube? Cuban Chronic here. I'm going to show you guys my current compost tea setup for various teas I use throughout the cycle. Usually use these 300 or 275 gallon IBC tanks. You can get them, you want to get food grade or something that was food grade was in it. Don't get ones that had Roundup. Even if they're cheap, man, don't grab ones if you can't guarantee they're food grade. These ones came from a dairy, I believe, with some kind of food grade, something rather that was in it. So you can get them. I've seen them full of soy sauce, all kinds of stuff. You can usually find them on Craigslist real cheap. I paid 75 bucks a piece for these two. The 300 gallons is enough to feed my 24 plus, 400 gallon pots, varying sizes. That's only a little 100 right there, but quite a bit, just to give them each like around 20 gallons or so, just depending on what part of the cycle you're in, etc. They work great. I bought two and was originally running two, but this has been plenty. So it's the third year using this setup. You should get a couple of these compost tea bags. I use Tea Lab. It's called Tea Lab. They got some great stuff. They send some recipes out, hook you up. This is Kelp. It's a Kelp Alfalfa tea. So I got some Kelp meal here and some alfalfa meal here. About 30 cups of each. With compost tea, you're kind of guessing anyway, unless you have a microscope. There's about a pint of molasses in here. I don't know, you can do up to like 6 to 8 cups of molasses in a tea. This tea in particular, I just add a little bit of molasses. I might come through, I'll brew it for like 2 days. And you want to look at your brew temps, etc. But I'm just showing you my setup. So this is a recent add-on. This is a Hudson Valve. And so what that does, it's like a float valve, and you just have your input water source just screwed right into it. So when that fills up, that's actually going to stop and turn the water off, which is kind of cool. Before I've had issues overflowing and things, it should be stopping any second once that water level gets to those holes. I know it's loud. We got two of these 110 liter, show you what brand it is, 110 liter per minute Active Aqua commercial sized air pumps. And just to show you guys real quick, I don't use the manifold it comes with. It comes straight off with that, I believe it's like a 1/4 inch or something line. And I just run it with no air stones, okay? And yeah, I just have a couple rocks as weights zip tied to the end. Call it what you will. Anyway, you want to space you want as much bubbles and as much air pushed through as you can. As you can see, I'm getting big bubbles coming through. I like to put one right under the bag so they get massaged. You want to just gently massage your amendments for sure. Oh, there goes some kelp puking out. And you're going to get kelp in there. So one thing I use is the Aero Mixer as a pump. It pulls out large particles. And so when all that meal and stuff is in there, it actually gets shot out to your garden, which is great. But you can actually get, little secret from Cuban Chronic right here, you can actually get an identical Aero Mixer pump for your pump if you want to just use it as a sub pump, because it pulls those 1/4 inch particles. It's a great sub pump. For 60 bucks on Amazon, you get this Lanchez submersible pump. So I would recommend that over the $400 Aero Mixer. The only difference with the Aero Mixer is you got this Aero Jet that'll suck air in and it blows, so you can use this to mix your tank while you're draining, so all that stuff stays suspended in your brew. Anyway, I run 2 pumps for 300 gallon. Honestly, I would like to even have more, but this 2 has been sufficient. And that's pretty much it, guys. I do a lot of worm teas. I do at least a couple teas a week to my garden. Varying teas, I switch it up. Tea brewing and everything that goes into tea brewing is a whole nother school of thought, and there's a lot of stuff to know. And I just do custom blends. I do different stuff depending on the cycle, what the plants are needing. So, tea brewing's a whole nother thing. And if you guys want to know some more about like how I do teas, you can always ask me, and even put in the comments on this video. Let me know if you want me to drop a video about some of the teas I do. But anyway, this is a Kelp Alfalfa tea, a little bit of molasses in there. That's it. So this is gonna release the natural plant growth hormone, tricontinol, I believe it's called. Because I can't pronounce this stuff correctly, but the alfalfa meal has to soak for at least 24 hours, but some people say 3 to 5 days in the sun, etc. Well, I don't know if I want things to go anaerobic. I want things to stay clean and aerobic with good bacteria. So I threw some molasses in here. The kelp's gonna release some bacteria, micronutrients, natural plant growth hormones. Kelp is a great, wondrous thing for plants. Anyway, this is just a simple, cheap, and efficient way to feed your garden. And this is my setup. This is what it's accumulated to after all the years. Pretty simple. I have this bungee cord just holding my pumps from falling in. So, you know, you don't want your pump to fall in. That would be bad, especially when you're brewing for 48 hours and you roll up and your pumps are in the water. I don't know. It could be bad. So, always stay safe around water and electronics. Always keep your tanks clean. After you brew, make sure you spray out the walls, the tops, under these lips. And I even use a little brush sometimes to scrub it. And, you know, like I said, there's a lot to tea brewing. There's a lot to know. If you guys are interested in more info on like how I do tea, I'll definitely try to find some time and do another video for that. But here's the Kelp Alfalfa tea setup. You can always open your big valve down here and drain at the end and help clean it out. But man, I tell you, that Aero pump, those Aero Mixer pumps, or that knockoff one, well, I don't know if Aero Mixer is a knockoff of them or if they're a knockoff of Aero Mixer, but I'm pretty sure Aero Mixer just buys those pumps and rebrands them, so there's that. Those compost tea bags, they could be substituted even cheaper. They cost money. They cost quite a bit, but they're tough. They hold the weight of all those wet amendments. You could use a nylon, like a woman's nylon. You could use paint strainer bags, pretty much anything. You could use an old bubble bag. I've used old bubble bags with full mesh bubble bags with micron, you know, a bigger micron, you know, something. I've used 220s and I think it was a 160 I was using for a while when I was just like starting up. If you're on a budget, man, there's all kinds of ways to brew compost tea. It's a super cheap way to make your own fertilizer, save money, and feed your plants fresh food. So it's a great thing to invest in. Yeah, it's extra steps. Yeah, there's a lot of inputs around. I just recommend running just raw, dry amendments. Down to earth's my go-to. And you know, hey, I've had great success with it. They do cost, you know, it costs money, but if you're on a small scale, this is incredibly cheap way to feed your plants all season and get a great organic, all natural product. So here we are, guys. I think that Hudson valve finally shut off. It was dripping a little bit right here, but that Hudson valve's been pretty cool because you just leave the water on. It's pretty stoked on that. You can get them for like, I don't know, it's like 15 to 30 bucks on Amazon. Used for stock tanks and things like that. Has an inch to a, you need an inch NPT to a 3/4 inch hose connector, and unfortunately I had to use a double female connector to get the male into my hose on that. So that's just a double female right there, 3/4 inch hose connector. Forgot to mention that. And I just strap my bags here at the top to this. I used to drop them down in below with like a bungee or a rope, and I had to pull them back up. Well, unfortunately, I pulled the ligament or something from my thumb that goes up your arm and makes your thumb move one year, and it was terrible, and it took weeks and weeks to heal from just pulling heavy bags from the bottom of this tank up over the tank. Not a good idea. So even if you guys had like a pulley system above where you could just kind of like drop your bags in and pull them up without any effort, that would be great. But I'm just putting them right here, and I can detach them and pull them out. And you always want to dump your amendments. You can compost your amendments. You can put them in a worm bin. You can top dress with these used amendments, and you're gonna get all the bang for your buck from these amendments as well. I used to do that a lot, but it becomes I don't know. I actually am just composting them in this bin right here for future worm bin stuff. The worms will eat the shit out of this kelp, I can tell you that. So it looks like I overfilled this kelp. It's gonna blow out, but you know what? All that kelp floating in there doesn't bother me at all. I don't care. I kind of like the kelp particles going out. So just make sure you roll your bags up. Don't overstuff. I overstuffed today. Not a big deal. It's gonna be a mess, but you know, like I said, you feed that mess to your garden, you're gonna see results. Here's the plants this year. Just getting ready for more teas. They've been enjoying a lot of the teas, man. The worm teas, one of my favorites. The Kelp Alfalfa, definitely. But if you guys want to hear more about some teas, and we ain't even talking flower teas yet, so just let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, you can always reach out. I'm pretty quick on response. So as always, happy gardening and dabs ahoy.